Common Sense Media, activated.
Live from the 210, it's the Wave of the Future Show, and we are your hosts, Mr. Trey M. Carr, and I am E. James. Gentlemen,
What's going on, guys? How we doing today?
what is really good?
Feeling good since December 1st.
You have options.
I have options. I got a lot of options, a lot of time.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to the Wave of the Future Show. We cover a range of topics. We talk about things in the news, culture, society, technology, whatever the heck we please. Not so much on the sports, but maybe things that are sports adjacent. We got a little something cooking for y'all on that. So, as you heard, I'm E. James.
I'm Mr. Trey M.
And this is Carr.
And we're doing things a little bit differently on the intro because we're remote. So we hope it doesn't throw our existing listeners off. Before we get started, how about some gratitude for the people out there? Y'all got anything?
I just want to give gratitude to a couple of my coworkers. They've actually taken the time to listen to us here, giving some good feedback to me specifically. They like what we're doing. Got to keep trucking. Thank y'all for your ears, and I hope we can continue to curate experiences that you enjoy.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to shout out my two nephews. I had them over this weekend to help me put up my new TV. We just had a good time doing it. We had a blast.
That's awesome.
Love those kids. Good kids.
Nice, man.
Before I get my gratitude, let's hear about that TV for a quick second, man. What'd you get?
I was about to say, man, what kind of TV you get, bro? You've been talking about it for a minute.
Yeah, I got myself an OLED. Got myself a little OLED. Well, it's not little. So this is interesting, and maybe people can chime in on the Discord and let me know what they've had with their experiences, but OLEDs operate on a different level of tolerance than most displays do. So not every display comes like this now, but it seems like the newer ones have been shipping like this. A lot of them will come a little bit bent, which is very strange. So Edge has one. He's got a nice OLED. It's a very, very thin screen. And from what I was looking at, it was a very nice straight screen. But from what I've seen on Reddit and other places, like some of these newer displays are just getting shipped and they have just enough tolerance to be able to get called passing. And I have a little bend on one side. Can't see it from dead on, but when you look at it from the side, there's a very, very slight bend to it. And for that particular one that I got, like the Samsung, like I guess I read pretty deeply into it and I saw that Samsung's only yielding about 75% of the OLEDs that they're producing. So, yeah, it's weird. I thought I bent it with the kids and I was like, oh, I was all mad at myself and I was looking it up and I've seen all walks of life pull them out of the box with way worse bends than mine. But it doesn't affect the picture. I don't really care. You don't see it on the first impression.
As long as it's not affecting what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Trey and I both have OLEDs, and I don't think I've noticed that for sure. I know you said you looked at mine. I don't know which one you looked at because I have one upstairs and downstairs. So that's weird.
No, mine's about as straight as can be, man. But you got it shipped like to your house, or did you pick it up from the store and bring it home?
No, I got it from Best Buy. So what the LGs have, they don't have like a big panel bend. What they do is they'll tilt one way or the other, forward or backwards. So that's kind of what happens with those. And then for the one like I got, I've seen where the top part of the bezel will just have like a S shape, real dramatic. Thankfully, mine doesn't have that. But yeah, I looked at it from the right hand side, and it just has like the slightest little tilt. I put a board next to it, and I just saw that there was a slight bow, and I was like, man, that's crazy. That's it. Either way, great picture, 65-inch display. It's beautiful. It's just
nice, man.
We got to get you on that THX optimizer.
Yeah, I need to color grade everything. Everything's coming real vibrant and blue. That's pretty much how Samsung ships all their stuff. It has the capability to fine tune, but my eyeballs really love it right now. I've been watching bad movies, watching good movies too. I was talking to Mitch about it, and in a conversation that we were having. I've just been watching everything. Just been sitting down in the mornings, just drinking my coffee, just being a potato.
Nice.
I'm going to give gratitude before we get rolling to my wife. She's been a patient lady. She's gotten over her COVID, and the trains keep going, man. Train keeps moving, that is, between basketball, this, work, jamming. It's been a busy time over here in this house, and she's flexed on the schedule quite a bit. And, I'm trying to make a lot of time for us because, those of you out there who are wondering why your lady ain't happy, gotta make time for her. Remember what you did before you had kids, before you got married. You did little dates, things like that. Some women want to go to the movies. Some want to be taken out downtown and wine and dine. Others just want you to sit on the couch with them and be the only one. But make that time. Whatever that it is for you, make that time. So shout out to my wife. I love you. And with that,
Nice.
Very nice.
Carr, you got first dibs because you've never gone first. What's on your mind, brother?
Well,
Not to put you on the spot.
so you can kind of tell I'm walking around with a little bit lighter load on my shoulders. Sans load, actually, if you want to put it that way. But I've been doing a lot better. So after my month of abstinence, this is what I've learned. I have a little bit more acne than I usually do, which is weird because I'm like 30. I don't get pimples anymore, but I have one on my face right now. Oh, looks like my Siri went off. So yeah, just that. I feel like a little bit more energized. I have a lot more self-control. I really just kind of focus better now that I kind of eliminated a distraction for a little while. But overall, it was just a good lesson in temperance. I think I've been better with my time management, and it was a valuable thing that I had to present to myself. So going forward, I'm going to try it every year. And if I have any brethren or sisters that want to join into the battle, let's talk on Discord and let's all talk about abstinence, guys.
Brethren and sisterin.
Yeah, sisterin. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. But that was, while I had all this free time, I'll go ahead and say I've been following the news a little bit more. And yeah, I've kind of noticed what's been going on with Rackspace lately. It's a bit of a crazy topic because I don't know if anybody else listening remembers, but let's peel back about 15 years in the city of San Antonio. We have a very emergent player in the game of web hosting and web services called Rackspace, and they buy an old mall, they turn it into a campus.
Shout out to Windsor Park.
Yeah, they bought the mall. They made it into a campus. It was like top dog for a very long time. And it seems like other tech companies kind of started seeing South Texas as a blooming enterprise for that stuff. So now we have Amazon, we have Microsoft. We have two different players in this game right now, and they seem to have taken a lot of the same services that Rackspace used to initially offer, and they do it on a bigger scale because they're bigger companies. What used to be the town hero, what used to be kind of the pinnacle for a lot of people in networking and other IT related fields, it's now really, really falling down. And especially this last week because they got hacked, they got breached, and they had a big outage on their Exchange division, which is about a $30 million a year product for them. So it's been pretty extreme. On the inside, semi kind of inside, I've seen that customers have lost full mailboxes. They've just lost a bunch of stuff that they can't get back because of this ransomware attack. I don't know if y'all know anything about it, but if you have any thoughts on it, I'd really like to hear that.
Well, where I work, we have a lot of former rackers, as they're called. And
You're right. Yeah, that was the name.
yeah. And didn't they have I think they had a big slide. One of my professors, he worked there, and he's a big network security guy. And he loved it. Absolutely loved it. So my good friend and first ever supervisor now works at my employer with me, and he used to work there in between the job we work together and the job we work together now. and he was, I don't want to say pretty high up, but he was, mid-level to a little bit more than mid-level. And so he's got some friends that still work there. And he's been getting a flood of messages about what's going on there. And people are angry saying, this is what happens when you sell your company to foreigners. They said they sold us out and, they should be ashamed of themselves, things like that. And it's just like, whew, spicy. Yeah, man, this is not a good look. And it is to my understanding that what's being reported now is actually late. Yeah, man.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I hope they get it together. I mean, this is not a small thing. Rackspace they're an OG in the industry by now. They are known. It's not just a San Antonio company. They are known. So I don't know. What are your thoughts, Trey? I know this really isn't your area of expertise, but I'm sure you know a little something.
Man, well, just a little bit. I don't know as much as you guys know as far as these things go. But I'm just kind of looking into like the ransomware attacks that are happening. It's just, I mean, that's the day of the age we live in now. Everything's digital. It's what we do. It's how we operate, I should say. But the numbers are like staggering. You're talking, there were 623 million ransomware attacks last year, 240 million ransomware attacks this year. Anybody can really fall victim of this. And that's where people like you really come into play, Mr. E. That's the name of the game with cybersecurity. That's what makes that such a valued position. And you can really see everything you were saying as far as Rackspace is concerned, how they treat their people and things of that nature. Those are how you navigate and keep these things from happening. And doesn't look like they're top of that, man.
It's not something that will ever go away. It's no longer a if it happens, but more of a when. Not just ransomware, but data breaches and the like. I mean, we spent so long as an industry worrying about, well, we're gonna accept this risk and we're gonna accept that risk, and we don't have to worry so much about this because that doesn't happen. And then it's like, boom. This company got on. That company got on. That company got on. Look at LastPass. LastPass had yet another data breach. Now, there is a minor caveat. It wasn't, they can't access your passwords in LastPass, but they've got your customer data. They still know who, if your customers, Carr and Trey are, without knowing your passwords. And that data is a lot more valuable when you think about it, because that data can actually be used to correlate you with a host of other services. Maybe LastPass is secure. Well, no, you're good there, but let's go try this. Let's go try that and that and that and that. So it gets scary.
So I'll just touch on one thing I experienced while I was out on the road this time last year. I did the whole digital nomad thing that we like to joke about, and I followed my brother to AWS conference last year in Vegas. And I went to spend the night in El Paso, I believe, or it was it was in Las Cruces. It was in New Mexico, but El Paso news still covers that greater area. So that news station got crypto locked out of all their graphics department.
Ouch.
So that was crazy. I was watching the news and just watching somebody on a MacBook hit the play button on their space bar and then just rolling footage that way and gathering all the B-roll like that. And I texted my brother. I was like, this news station's awful. I was like, yeah, it's because they got crypto locked, man. They're part of our org. And I was like, no way.
Ouch.
So
That's crazy.
All that being said, it's an ongoing beast. I'd hate to be the security guy for those divisions. And if so, I'd say polish up those resumes.
That is definitely a resume generating event, or as we say in the industry, an RGE.
Yeah.
I mean, look at T-Mobile. T-Mobile's had multiple breaches. I dropped them. I loved what I was paying. I was paying $100 a month, unlimited everything, just flat, no plus tax, $100 flat for my wife and I to have phone lines.
It's not bad.
Now I'm paying an extra 65, $70 with my cell phone carrier. And it makes me sick to my stomach because essentially they're not doing anything different than those guys other than protecting my data better. So it's
That's
sad.
important,
It
though.
is important, man. You get what you pay for, right?
Yep, that's it.
So while we're talking about resume building and other things that you could do to ensure your future, I know you had a couple articles that you showed us, the Edge. What do you want to say?
Yeah, so this is a circle back. I think we're gonna have a reoccurring theme here this episode. We might have to call this Backsplash or something, because we are talking about it's not even a new thing. Again, they're applying names to this stuff, but career cushioning. So it is, I don't want to say the art, but basically looking for a job while you have a job because you're assuming the worst is going to happen. I would say that's just looking out for yourself and not getting canned or laid off without any, I guess if you get laid off, you typically get severance. But if you get fired, you can get some unemployment, right? But I don't know. That's just, we're throwing all these terms onto these things that have always existed, especially that one.
Well, yeah, it seems like most generations now don't know what to do when they get fired. So that's why I have to give all these cute little buzzwords a try. Basically, it's telling you to have a savings account, which is like number one.
Right.
Have a resume. If you don't have a resume, find a resource that can help you build a better resume.
Right.
And there's just stuff like that. Like I saw a post today on Reddit about a young man or woman, I guess I'm assuming there, but somebody on Reddit was on our San Antonio and they were talking about how they spent all this money on Code Up and they can't get a job right now. They put all their eggs in a basket. And the last time I checked, Code Up is about $20,000.
Yeah, I've heard people doing these coding boot camps. I think a guy that I used to work with when I was in the energy sector did Code Up. He's already got a job still in the energy sector, but I think it's one of those things where he wanted to just add to his skill set, which is cool. But if you don't have the experience or you don't have a job and you do something like Code Up or whatever, you spend a lot of money and then you go into the job market and you still don't get a job. It's discouraging. It's like, well, what did I spend all this money for? I spent maybe what little money that I had to elevate my career and I'm still not being chosen. So that's a little troublesome, problematic, however you like to put it.
Yeah.
Scary world we live in, man. I think it's just kind of funny how all these terms, I don't know, maybe I was just raised a little differently, but isn't this what you're supposed to do? Like in your professional career, no matter what it is, quiet quitting, if you're unhappy with your current employer, you don't just up and quit, but you start to peck away at things. Career cushioning, you should always have a fail-safe for whatever may happen. Now, whether it's as cushioned as you think it is, you don't ever find out until something happens, but you should always have your guns cocked and ready to go. You should always have your money saved up, ready to go. A couple of months. I think the general assessment is 3 months worth of your bills. You should have at least in savings. You should have 3 months of rainy day fund.
Right.
Your resume should always be up to date.
Right.
That's just something I learned in high school, really. You always update your resume. You learn new skills. Even if you do the same kind of repeated job, there are new skills that you can learn throughout doing that job. If you're promoted or grown through that job, you keep your resume up to date. That's what you're supposed to do. And if you find yourself in a situation where, you can feel the writing on the wall, you can feel the tremors in the ground, you feel the shakeup coming, that's what that is there for. You're ready to go. You're ready to lock and load. Get on whatever site you want to get on and start throwing in those applications or whatever you want to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, to me, well, I guess to us, it's common sense, not calm man sense. But common sense, and going back to the article, this person on LinkedIn, she's a career expert, Catherine Fisher, specifically defined career cushioning as taking actions to keep your options open and cushioning for whatever comes next in the economy and job market. It's like, where's the cushion? I don't know. When I heard cushioning, career cushioning, I thought they were finally giving a term to, have y'all ever heard of overemployment? This new thing?
No.
There's a website. I think it's called overemployed.com. But basically you have a job, but you can do other jobs while you have this job that you're currently in. So it's like, okay, well, there's 24 hours in the day. I do my job 8 hours and I've got more time to do other things. So you don't necessarily quit your job. You just say, well, let's say if you're a developer and a lot of your job is waiting for stuff to happen or whatever whatever the case may be. Well, I've got 2 hours to let this job run or this code to compile or whatever it is. I can do this in the meantime. Start typing away and do another job. So I thought that this is what career cushioning was. When I looked at it, I was like, this just sounds like overemployed, but no. And the recession, there's lots of talks about the recession and next year and how things are going to turn for the worse. And so people are doing this now. They're trying to get in where they can fit in now to basically hedge their bets. And I get it. I totally get it. I like it's scary. The unknown is always scary. My thing is, personally, if you quit your job and you know a recession's coming and you quit your job because you're just scared about your company, you have some evidence to back it up, but you just quit and you just go. You've gone from, let's say you're at a company 10 years. You've gone from a tenured employee. A lot of big companies, it's like, 5 years before you're fully vested in a company. So now you leave, you're the new guy, and they say, well, shit, we got to let people go. Who do we just bring in? You. And now you're gone. It's not always that cut and dry, obviously. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's a lot more scientific and based on the company's needs. But if you're the person that's new and you're going in there and it's like, well, we've been doing fine without you. We ramped up because, I don't want to say fine, but we ramped up because we had this expectation that all this work was coming in. But it turns out we're not getting the work that we anticipated. So sorry, dog, you got to go. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, that definitely makes sense. That's one of the, the values of tenureship, in that regard, is that you kind of get, as long as you're because some people are tenured, but they're not relevant employees. They're there, they do their job, but they don't do it well, but they've never done it bad enough to get fired. So you have those people that kind of get to stick around for some time. But, if you're a tenured employee and you do your job well, you're kind of saved from some things, including, when things kind of chop down, the chopping block starts coming around.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that, being a tenured employee can bring to you. But at the same time, the world we live in, like you said, the unknown is scary, but you can't live in fear of the unknown. You can't quit your job due to the unknown. You got to ensure that, you're moving forward in ways.
So there was a quote in there. I was scanning to find it from when I read it earlier. Y'all are familiar with the Huffington Post, right? I believe this is the person who made it, Ariana Huffington. But she says, we're in a crisis of purpose and meaning, not just burnout. And nearly half of American workers now say they wouldn't wish their job on their worst enemy. In the words of David Chappell, word? I mean, wow. Is your job that? Well, maybe some are. I stopped myself because I don't want to be like that guy going, it could be worse. Like, there's people starving in Africa, man.
Yeah, you don't want to be jobist now, do you?
It's intuitive. Oh, not that job. That's jobs. But yeah, that one kind of made my eyebrow raise, and I was like, career cushioning. Well, what's that about?
There's another, what was that term you used? Overemployment.
Yeah, overemployed.
Where I come from, when you use, the free time that you have to find other avenues, we just call that hustling. That's just what that is.
Yeah.
You're just hustling. Hey, I got some free time. Let me make sure I'm not wasting my time. Make a little extra money if I can here or there. Just wanted to kind of circle back into that. I kind of thought that was funny.
Fellas, yeah, I was right, by the way. Overemployed.com. They got a Discord channel, a Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest.
Damn. Got looks for getting multiple paychecks at the same time. Here's my lookbook for how many Lambos I got.
Act now. You can have all these.
I can imagine a coder also drop shipping at the same time and having a website that they run for that stuff. But
right.
So I got this quote from this job recruitment board that I subscribe to. This is Steve Jobs' quote. So he said, "The only way to do great work is to love what you do." I know that doesn't apply for everybody because everybody's had a job where it's been more arduous than fun. But ultimately, that should be an ambitious goal that you should keep in your heart if you really do want to be happy in your career. Maybe people find happiness in other ways. Some people find happiness in their families and their personal lives, or some people just like watching TV all day like I have been.
OLED.
Yeah, OLED.
If you do what you love, you never work a day in your life, right?
Yeah. And I think that's true. But if you don't have that right now, it still should be something to try and work towards. I know circumstances different. I know some people may feel like they're stuck in a way, but ultimately you can spend 5 to 10 years doing the same thing, beating the same rock with the same hammer, or you could try something a little different and go out of your comfort zone to do that. But that's upon you, dear listener. And ultimately, it's just life. That's all you got to do. All these buzzwords ain't going to want to make you make another resume, ain't going to make you want to quiet quit while you're getting quiet fired and while you're cushioning your job. To me, that just completes the job trilogy, as you had said earlier, Edge.
Yes, that's right. We're completing the job trilogy, man. This is the return to the candidate.
Yeah. There you
go. First, it was quiet quitting, A New Hope.
Yeah.
And then it was quiet firing, The Empire Strikes Back. And now you're looking for the career cushioning, Return of the Jedi.
Damn, that couldn't have fit.
Those actually work better than I expected.
Yeah, they couldn't have fit any better, dude. That's so strange how real life has given us a sort of job trilogy to look at and analyze.
I agree, man. One thing you said, one thing just to kind of follow up on what you said, those people that are out there feeling stuck, it's not going to be easy to unstick yourself. You got to go out. You got to get a little uncomfortable. You got to make a game plan. You got to execute it. Sometimes it's not instant when you want to get from one place to another place, but to find something you like and to be happy in what you do, it's going to take a little bit of sacrifice. So don't be afraid to take the leap, man.
And if you are feeling really bad, just go listen to the Flaming Lips, Bad Days, from the Batman Forever soundtrack.
All right.
That song always stuck out to me. I've been listening to that. What was that? 95? When that movie came out, 95, 96?
I don't know. Somewhere around there. Mid-90s.
Yeah. So, opening line, you're sort of stuck where you are, but in your dreams, you can buy expensive cars or live on Mars and have it your way. Now, this next part, I do not advise that you do this. This could be punishable up to and including death if you do this. And you hate your boss at your job. Well, in your dreams, you can blow his head off. In your dreams, show no mercy, and all your bad days will end.
Well, I was talking about that. There is a crazy story that my brother had relayed to me when he was at his old job, which is quite a ways ago. So there was a guy working for an organization that was both colorblind and half deaf, and he was running a lot of AV production for them.
Oh boy!
So this cat was mixing color and doing stereo when he didn't have either facility on hand. And I guess one day they figured it out because one day one of the broadcasts just came out bad. And long story long, this guy took it down on his bus by taking a dump on his windshield.
Oh no!
And they never, yeah, it's crazy. They never really blamed the guy, but they could tell it was a human that had done that. No bird could do that.
Yeah, I mean,
Ain't nobody laying nothing like that, bro.
Yeah.
the great white bat did not drop great white guano.
Guano.
Not this time. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. There are some stories we could talk about off mic, things I've seen in the industry.
Yeah. There's 10 different ways to unleash aggression, but you gotta just remember you gotta have it all be productive. Can't have it all just be liable. Can't be liable for all these things. But yes, personal. Sometimes it's personal, and sometimes the job sucks and you can't get away from it. So best thing you can do is quiet quit. When you can refer to our quiet quitting episode if you want to learn more.
The quitting wave.
Yeah.
Ooh, smooth, fellas. Smooth.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to put kind of the well, I'm hoping this is the bookend, because I don't know what they're going to come up with next for jobs. You know, we're going to call it quiet rejuvenation. I don't know. But I thought that one was kind of a good one to throw out there, since we've talked about this 2 times over to a much larger degree. So anyway, how about them Spurs, man?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Here we go.
Wembayama is what I gotta say about them Spurs right now. We can't buy a victory, man. But it's what I expected this year, man. It's what I expected. But don't want to get too much into the
Sports talk,
technical sports talk that goes along with my Spurs, because I could do that for an hour and a half in itself. But one thing I did kind of want to bring up, since we talked about it on one of our previous episodes, I just want to kind of follow up and close another book. So Mr. Josh Primo, the Spurs organization, they have officially settled their lawsuit with the accuser of Primo's indiscretion, as we know the story of what's been accused. See, it's been I guess kind of a trend between Primo. You can throw like the Deshaun Watson case and things like that into this mix. And I just really want to ask a question to you guys. So when you're an accuser, or when you're the accused, and you kind of immediately go into settlement, you don't go into, there's a lot of different avenues you can go in to prove your innocence, right? Does settlement, I know it technically doesn't in a court of law, but to the public's eye, does that kind of bring forth like an admission of guilt? Does it seem like an admission of guilt to you guys when a month into the lawsuit, you settle?
To the person who, well, I don't even say doesn't know the law, because I'm not a lawyer. So let me backtrack on that. But I can see how the optics on that may make one think that there's some sort of admission of guilt. I would also say, though, it's like any negotiation to a degree, where I come at you and I say, Trey M, I want to sue you for $5 million. And then we negotiate down to, we settle at $1 million. And I know you're worth way more than 5 million, but you give me a cool $1 million. You make me quietly go away. So I know that's a negotiating tactic. Is it an admission of guilt? It could be. It could also be one of those things where it's like, it will cost us more to litigate this process forever. Because, as we all know, lawyers ain't cheap. Their rates, hey man, you spend 15 minutes on the phone with one of these guys, and that's an hour. You know, I used to work with a lady. She would say, get them off the phone in 14 minutes. So I would set a timer. And at 13 minutes and 30 seconds, I'd be like, yeah, that's good enough. If I got anything else, I'll email you. I said, and I start wrapping it up. So all that to say, it could be that. It could be just a technique to say, look, just get out of here. Just take your money. Shut up. It sucks that I got to pay you, but it's cheaper than what I would pay to do this over the next, who knows.
So to play devil's advocate here, I also think the recipient of said settlement may not really be looking for justice in that case. Could be somebody just kind of looking for a payday. And I'm not saying this in this specific case, but I do want to play devil's advocate like I am. It could just mean like, hey, you hit me with your car. What do you want to do? You want to pay me? It's just one of those kind of things. I've seen this before. I've seen people just trying to get a payday. The optics on it just look strange, but there is technical reasons why this would happen over drawing it out over the course of a year or two with a court proceeding.
I can kind of understand that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get you guys' kind of background and opinion on it because I can see where you guys are coming from. And then like from Josh Primo's perspective, I can see where he comes from jumping into a settlement. Like, I just want to play basketball. Like, I want to get all this wrapped up so I can try to get back into playing basketball or get back into some sort of light in this league that I got into. But it just kind of strikes me as odd, especially since an organization like the Spurs has never encountered anything like this or had to do anything like this. I would think, if the good name of the Spurs really, went forward, if you're really trying to fight for that name and keep it clean, you'd want to, prove your innocence, let all the details come out because we know that we didn't do anything. But instead, we settle for a undisclosed amount, keep all the entrails of this disclosed and under wraps, and go about our business. I just find it a little fishy. And this is from a diehard Spurs fan.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to say something along those lines. We're all native San Antonians, and they're embedded with the community. It's not just a team that comes here and plays or that plays here. I mean, they do a lot, and I'm sure it's like that for every team to a certain degree or 100%. But for us being a quote unquote small market team, it feels like a lot. You go to a city like New York. How many teams does New York have per sport? At least 2. You go to a state like California. California's got 4 football teams. They have 4 basketball teams. LA's got 2. The Bay Area, for all intents and purposes, has 2. People are going to squint and go, Sacramento's not in the Bay Area, but it's not that far. It's not that far from the Bay. It's close enough. It's a lot closer than Houston, if I'm not mistaken, to San Antonio, and definitely San Antonio to Dallas.
Yeah, that's a drive.
Right. 5 hours versus 3 hours, and I think they're within like a 2-hour drive from each other. So they're deeply embedded in the community. They mean a lot here. And there was a black guy. This is not really, again, the sports side of it. We're not talking about a dude shooting 40% from the 3-point line. No, we're talking about the social impact and the optics on the situation. This has just been, if we're going to talk a little bit of X's and O's slightly, this has been a crappy season for the Spurs. We expected them not to do great. Hell, the coach of the Spurs even told us, don't expect them to win a championship this year. And I'm surprised he didn't get fined for saying that.
Yeah.
Because that can be looking like they're trying to throw the season. Just he knows what he's got, right? It's like, no, this ain't it. Trust me, this ain't what we've had for the last 20 some odd years. So you couple that with the fact that you've got players doing knucklehead things. And if it really is a mental issue, which I guess it is because the dude has been a habitual line stepper, Charlie Murphy. But I don't know, man. It's sad. I'm glad, or I hope his victim, I feel like that's a strong word for it, but the psychologist, psychiatrist, I hope that she feels whole and they can both move on with their lives. Both sides, all three sides, if you count the organization, can move on with the process of healing, learning from their mistakes, and doing what's best for themselves and the Spurs, you know, the players within their organization and the staff or the people they contract out to interact with said organization and the players within it.
Very well said, man. I don't think there's much more to be said on that. But I hope everybody is happy with the way that their things worked out in that opinion, and everybody can get back to doing what they do. And all in all, I hope Josh Primo is all right in his mental state. And I do want to see him back in the league because I do think he has a bright future as a young basketball player. The kid's only 20 years old. There's a lot left to, excuse me, a lot left to go through with him, hopefully, that we can see.
You said it very well there. You hope that he's okay, because if he's not, and he comes back prematurely because he's worried about a paycheck and this continues elsewhere.
Yeah,
there won't be any coming back.
So take this time to get your mind right. Like, truly see this as a blessing, even though it sounds like a curse right now, because you're not playing, you're not going to make any additional money, but get your stuff together, man.
Yeah, it's rather something that goes checked rather than unchecked over a long course of destruction. You know, you can go through a lot of doors with a lot of guilt. So it's probably for the best that it got caught early, you know?
Yeah.
Then you end up with 20 accusers like that, Mr. Quarterback. But yeah, you don't want that.
Boy.
Don't want that. But anyway, we can go on. I want to lighten things up a little bit, man. So, Carr, you got that big brand new TV, man. What you watching on that brand new TV, brother, man? What you into right now?
So I saw this documentary that I talked to with Edge. I wanted to see if I could bring this one up. I talked to you about it previously before. This one I thought was good to bring up into the main show. It's called Hunting Sasquatch. So I know y'all both looking at me like I'm crazy. It's not what it seems. It is not what it seems. So this is something that I thought was really interesting. It was like a portrait. It was like a documentary about a man who had given up his whole life just to try and find Bigfoot. It was really moving. It was really touching stuff. You really get to see the kind of mind that gets attracted to these things. They call it Bigfoot Gold Rush. It's just basically, I don't want to give too much away because we did talk about it before, but it's a great watch. It's on Amazon. That's a good thing to really dive into if you're not really into the idea of having conspiracy theories on deck or anything. That's just a great thing to see, just for the sake of having just like a personality out there in the world that you can view from the outside. This is a really outsider guy, a really, really outsider kind of person that you can take a little bit of time to look into in their lives and see what kind of mind gets attracted to these things. There's that. I've been watching just a lot of YouTube, just kind of playing with HDR and OLED and all these dumb configurations. While we're going into conspiracy theories, I am a little bit hesitant to bring this one up. I didn't bring this up to you guys before, but one of my coworkers showed me this video of an alleged witch in Monterrey, Mexico. And it's like the dumbest thing. I think just because the video is blurry, it makes me more scared. Like, it's spooky, dude. Like, it's
What's her name?
I don't know, and I don't want to know. So basically, it's just a blurry video.
You that scared, bro?
Yes, I got shook. Like, it's how bad it got. Like, basically, it's just a video of like a figure that looks like it's holding its knees, like hovering with a purpose over a mountainside. And it's like in real space. This is like shot in 2006 pre-drone era. So it looks like a little drone just kind of floating like that. And you could tell it's not superimposed by the time the figure goes, just laughing. It just goes in front of the foreground. and then the lighting changes obviously because the camera is like adjusting, and then the figure also adjusts accordingly to the color of the whole thing, and it just freaked me out, man. It just freaked me out.
Yeah, you're gonna have to throw that one in the Discord, bro. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, we gotta see what that's about.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. I've just been doing that. I've been waking up every morning just watching YouTube videos. I've been playing games. I was thinking about trying to get the Callisto Protocol. It was made from the Dead Space people, which I really liked.
Okay, I was wondering because when I saw the trailer for that, I was like, "That looks like Dead Space."
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the
same
original.
creators.
So
Yeah.
Respawn, right?
Yeah. It's a new. Well, it's called. What is it called now? It's called something else. I forgot the name, but it's all.
Yeah, they
the
did rebrand it, but it's all the same. It's still the same people.
Yeah. So I've heard mixed things about it. I've heard that I've just heard that it's about 10 hours long, I think, if you really run through it. So that's really, really short for a
Wow.
AAA title. Looks good though. I don't know. I'll wait. I'll wait a little bit, but I just got back into God of War.
Man, yeah, I was hoping you were gonna bring that up. That's what I'm playing right now.
You playing Ragnarok right now?
Yes, I am playing Ragnarok, and it is a absolutely beautiful game. I have put in way too much time playing this video game as of late. I'm not watching anything on TV that's not sports. Watch sports when I go to bed, and then like during my waking hours, like I'm playing God of War Ragnarok.
I've been playing Godfall with my cousin over in Boston, and we just he's got a PS4, so we've been hammering that because he was looking for something to do, and we've been having a great time with that. That's a fun game. A little bit. It's a little repetitive, but it's fun. You smashing up people. You know, it's like a looter slasher RPG, action RPG type thing. You know, you build a character class and you get different armors and plates and stuff. So it's cool. That Callisto looks dope. I'd never really got into God of War. Not that I didn't like it. It's never really been a game that I've played much, and it always looked cool, but it just
Never played it on like
Not
the
playing it.
PS2 or the PS3 versions, but the last one that came out for PS4 when he has a son and stuff, I don't know, it just gives it a nice touch. And then Ragnarok is even more expounded upon that, and it's beautifully done. It really is. So if you like the original God of War, or you've played any of them in the franchise and you have not played God of War Ragnarok yet, I truly suggest you get that.
So here's my rundown on the God of War series. First 3 parts, this guy's totally cancelable completely. He's problematic. Like today's God of War is not the God of War from the PS2 era. I think it starts out with him in bed with 2 ladies of ill repute. I think that's how the first game starts. And you got to play this mini game where you shake the analog sticks and you get points, air quotes points. So that's kind of fun. And yeah, the second and third game of that series, he's just violently maiming other gods and stealing all their superpowers and just running amok and killing the whole Greek god like organization. Just going from the top, from the bottom up. Kills Zeus, which is like his dad. And yeah, he decides to like not want to be a god anymore at the end of the third one. And it was made by the same guy who made Twisted Metal. So it had kind of like that 90s edge to it. It was going into the 2000s. So those are
so
the
what
first.
you're saying is that Jason Statham should be the God of War.
He could be. Yeah. So the guy who made the first games was David Jaffe. That's a Twisted Metal guy. He went on to move on past Sony Entertainment. So Sony took the reins again for the PS4 era, and they made this version of God of War, which is like Trey said, it's really touching. It's really, really touching. There's a scene in that first God of War game where the young man, the boy kills his first person, and he's like, dad pulls the corpse off him, and he's like really, really, shaken.
Yeah.
And he just says, instead of Kratos just being like the way he was before, like being cruel and mean, he like puts his hand on his arm and he just says, close your heart to it, boy. And there's a real tender moment there, and it starts pulling on those heartstrings, and it shows you that this character is going through development and growth, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a real beautiful thing. I choked. I was like, oh, I want to be a dad. It was like really, really good.
It really is like the things you go through from being like a reckless, not father to a father figure. Like you have to button it up a little bit.
Yeah,
I bet it'd make you choke up like the first 15 minutes of The Last of Us.
Oh my god,
man! Which one? The first one or the second one?
Yeah,
the first one. Right. I never even played the second one.
Oh, the second one's good.
Yeah.
Second one's great.
It's a trip. The first 30 minutes of that game, they'll completely
I'm just tired of zombies, man.
I get it.
Yeah, I'm burnt out.
I
I will, I'm sure one day, but I'm zombied out.
That game looks beautiful on the PS5. It was made for the PS4, but The Last of Us Part 2, the PS5, oh my gosh. It's
that theme song is chilling, dude. Like every time I hear those guitar notes, I get a little bit antsy.
Did y'all see the trailer for the show?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm very excited for that. It looks like they actually did. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but it looks like they actually might have did a good job with a video game transition.
Man, that was a big clicker. I was like, yo, wow, that's the clickers for real.
Yeah, I think that one was, I can't remember the name of them, but there's different levels of the clickers as you play the game. Like they get tougher and bigger, and there are different ones. I think that was one of the little higher up ones.
Yeah, the ones with the spores, right?
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm excited for that. That comes out in January, I think. So I'm excited for that to come through. I actually might watch some TV for that one.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal, man, the world's greatest babysitter.
So yeah, we got a real big run for him coming up this January. He's got that, and he's got Mandalorian coming back in March. So we're gonna have nonstop Pedro for like the first half of the year.
I'm not really excited about Mandalorian season 3, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
I'm sick. I'm sick of Grogu, man. I need a break. I mean, Grogu's cute, but he wasn't gone long enough for you to miss him. But I get it. Disney's like, miss him. We're trying to sell toys.
Yeah,
I get it.
Have y'all watched?
But I'm just like,
have y'all watched Andor yet?
Mm-mm.
No, not yet.
I've heard great things about it. I haven't dove into it yet, though.
I heard it's awesome.
Yeah, I heard that's like one of the best Star Wars projects of all time, is what I'm hearing.
Rogue One was one of the best Star Wars projects of all time, and Rogue One was neutered. Gareth Edwards made a even more gritty movie, and Disney said, that's too much.
Yeah, it's Disney.
So, like, the best movie of that trilogy was Rogue One, and that wasn't part of the trilogy. It almost had a Samurai 7 feel with the way they had some of those people.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up Mads Mikkelsen in the beginning, like a humble farmer. He had the total samurai garb on and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that was a dope one. Mythic Quest. I've been watching that on Apple TV Plus. So that's written by Charlie Day.
That's
It's
cool.
starring the guy that plays Mac. I can't think of his name. Rob McElhaney.
Yeah, McElhaney.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say McElhorn.
Mechalai. Yeah, what's the Pee Wee's?
Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah. Yeah,
Ho.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, don't go to the movie theater by yourself now.
Yeah. Cowboy Curtis and them. Oh man, I remember that whole show. I love that show.
Yeah, man. Lawrence Fishburne. Yeah.
Dude, crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, that show is about a video game company. Rob is the guy that like had the vision. He's the main guy, and Tiny Tina's in there.
No way.
Ashley Birch. Yeah, Ashley Birch is the actress. It's funny because she's not just Tiny Tina. She's Aloy.
No way.
And so sometimes it's funny that when you hear her talk, when she gets really excited, you can hear Tiny Tina.
Mm.
But when she's serious and she's delivering her serious lines, it's like, okay, that's Aloy. I close my eyes and I see Aloy now. But yeah, it's a hilarious show. Especially if you're into tech. I mean, if you're not into tech, but it's not on the nose like Silicon Valley, but it's got some of those vibes. Like Silicon Valley was hilarious to me because I lived a lot of the tech, I lived the tech life. So I'm just going, oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, wasn't there that whole trope at the beginning was like there's always like 4 dudes that hang out with each other and they're all the same or something? Like there were like 4 different kinds of dudes and every group is the same.
Yeah.
There's one with a ponytail, so and so, this, that, and the third. Like, yeah, dude.
No, one of my favorite characters from Silicon Valley is the guy that worked in the server room. It's like he was just buried in the basement. They're like, so what do you do? I work on the servers. And there's that awkward silence. You want to go see a server rack? Follow me. He's just soulless, straight soulless, man. So, all right, fellas, y'all want to start wrapping it up?
Yeah, man, it was a good wave as always, gentlemen. It's always fun to ride the wave with y'all.
Yeah, we just rolling from one thing to another, man. Catching the drift. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you should not be listening to this if you're boys and girls. Non-binary and everything in between and outside the box. We appreciate y'all. You can find us on Instagram at Common Sense Media, Twitter, Calm Sense Media. My man Trey over there has been holding it down for us on the Twitter front. Appreciate that. And I'll let you guys shout out where you are. Well, I'll talk for Mr. Carr here. You can find him on the Discord.
Yeah, man. That's the only place you can find Carr. One day, man, we're going to get you a Twitter in here, man. We're going to have to do it.
Yeah, we are.
Maybe.
Go ahead, Trey. You got it, man.
Oh, yeah, man. You can find me at Marshall on Mics on Twitter. Hit me up, man. Give me a follow. I'll follow back, I promise. And give us feedback, man. I hope you guys enjoy what we're doing, how we're doing it. And if there's something that you want to hear, something you want a little different, a little twist, let us know on there. We may just be able to oblige for you.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off of that. You know, if you're on Apple Podcasts, rate and review the show or wherever your podcast player, podcatcher of choice is. Let us know how we're doing. Send us a message on Twitter. Send us a message on Instagram. You can hit me up personally. Eat Can Talk on both platforms. So holler at us. Let us know. We do this for you. This holiday season, we got a little something special going on. A little comic book crossover event. We'll talk about that a little bit later on as we get closer.
It's going to be
continued.
So to be continued. ... That last page. Now you're getting ads. All right, y'all. With that, we're going to end it. Peace.
Peace.
Later.